Hey guys, meteorologist Lindsey Slater here. Also have my space weather certificate. So let's talk a little bit about space weather. I've actually gotten a couple of questions about if we're going to see some auroras. One of the best websites to take a look at is either Space Weather Live, which is one of my favorite websites. Um, it kind of gives a comprehensive look at what's going on out there, shows you the aurora oval, kind of shows you the last couple of KP index observations, disturbance storm index, which has been okay. I wouldn't say this is anything to be super excited about. Solar wind has been picking up, and that is because we have a coronal hole. So, what is that? That's what it looks like. This right here, I believe this, oh, what angstroms is this? Oh, goodness, 195. Okay, so we're at the 195 angstroms right now, or the different wavelengths that we can look at. And you can see there's actually a part where I'm going to show you all the different suns. Not this one. Sorry, we're just skipping around here. Not that one. Oh goodness, I can't find it. So you can see all the different colors here, right there. Each one of these is going to showcase a better opportunity to look at something different when it comes to space weather. So the 131 is really good for looking at solar flares. 171, you can see lots of these. Sometimes you can see filaments, prominences, but you can really see right there those beautiful filaments, or not filaments. There's a name for it. I can't remember at the moment, but you can see these active regions really well on 171. 195 is really good, and so is 211 at showing coronal holes. Also, you can sometimes see filaments kind of popping up. They look like little dark pencil lines, if you will. 284, that one's really, really bright, shows really those brightness regions. And then the 304, this one's good for watching filaments, these little tiny pieces like right here that might lift off. So we could see some prominences and filaments that lift off. Sometimes that can give you a really good indication of potential aurora. So the reason I'm coming on here to talk about it is that we have this beautiful coronal hole. Now, yes, it is Earth directed, it's Earth facing, but it is pretty south in the latitude of the sun. If we're going to see some big stuff, sometimes you want to have a coronal hole more so in the middle, stretching north to south. You have this really interesting feature right here as well. I'm noticing this almost looks like a filament launch right there. I wonder what that looks like in motion. I might have to go to SUVI, which is going to be where I could see whether or not we have any launches going on. Let's take a quick peek. What is going on up there? That's just a super active region. Look at that. Oh, that is so cool. I'm such a nerd. Look at this. That is just really cool. I feel like that's a filament launch or a prominence that's ready to launch. It's just kind of hanging out there like a phalange. I'll have to talk to some of my professors. But the reason I'm coming on here is to talk about the coronal hole. So coronal holes are not going to give you radiation storms. So that's why the proton flux is very, very low. I also was looking at the magnetometers, and you can see that the D component magnetometer has been decreasing, but at this point, it's nothing that I'm really worried about. You can see these arrangements of these different magnetometers, 1 minute data here showcasing nanoteslas. And again, it's in the low zone, if you will. This is not going to be a situation where we had a CME launch. This is going to be a coronal hole. And again, you can see the different, this is what I was trying to show you earlier. You can see right here, we have the different flaring regions. And if we take a look at the synoptic map, we can see, yeah, that's what's showcasing that beautiful filament or prominence that's really lifting. Right here, also we have some active regions, and this is what Space Weather Live is good at, paying attention to these little active regions here. So here's our big coronal hole right there. That coronal hole is going to give us some fast solar wind, and that can trigger auroras. So why that's important? Well, you can see the K indices and the A indices are showcasing, I mean, lower KP index values. You're not going to get a ton of activity if you don't have like a solar storm when it comes to K values, but what you can have are some substorms as a result of a coronal hole and high speed streams. So there is a potential we could see a little bit of that. Something else that I've noticed, I've already showed you the synoptic map, X-ray flux data. This is showcasing solar flares. We did have an M-class flare early this morning. So there's that. I wonder what DRAP looks like. Hang on one second. DRAP, where are you? There it is. Yeah, I was going to say there's likely going to be some kind of solar flares. What they'll do is they'll give you radio blackouts. So that's why I look at the DRAP. That'll show me where we're seeing radio data. But again, with an M class flare, you're not going to get anything too exciting happening there, which is good. Sunspot regions. This is what I like about Space Weather Live. It usually will show us we have a southerly BZ component to the wind. It's not particularly huge. BT is a little bit higher. I don't like looking at these ones as much. I would prefer this. So our disturbance is up there. There's a little bit of a gap in the data right here. We have high speed streams going on, low density, high wind speeds, which is so indicative of a coronal hole high speed stream. And what that could do is it could give us a little bit of aurora. I wouldn't say it's happening in southeast Wisconsin, but it does have that potential to do some of the higher latitude regions. And because of this, SWIPC has issued a G1 storm has been observed, and they have another one that will be likely predicted as well. So I've had a couple of questions about auroras around here, so I wanted to hop on and talk about what all of this means. Again, we have aurora because of this beautiful coronal hole right here. A couple other little regions have been trying to lift off as well. So I'll hop on anytime I see something that's kind of interesting to talk about, and we'll pay attention to these active regions here and here and here. Which could give us radio blackouts, especially in areas that have been hit by disasters like Texas flooding or any other natural disasters, fires. When you have flares like this and they cause radio blackouts, that could really inhibit some of the efforts from emergency responders. So that's also important to watch. Hope you guys enjoyed the talk. I will talk to you guys later as well.